creatures on the air when you tried to call them? No, I know I have the phone number to the military. Can I have the number to the city? Yeah, that's what I need. Thank you. Guys, I mean, what do you think seeing this where the Army's going to go door to door and do gun confiscation drills and hang up pictures of U.S. citizens and run around with checkpoints in the town with just people there in the middle of it? I mean, that's obviously to acclimate them.
Just on this trip, Alex, we came from California, we went to Georgia, we're in Texas now, and, you know, in Georgia, people are talking about fighting, people are talking about resisting. There's all this sense of, you know, we know something's going on. In California, they're all very sleepy. Yeah, Obama's going to fix it. We need to trust the president. Let's give it some time. There's a real division from what I'm seeing.
I guess the scary thing is that when the military is used on the streets against the people, in Australia there's some Indigenous communities in the centre and there's been a lot of child sex issues. So what they did is they actually sent the military in to police the towns. Now, we see that as a precedent for something, a sign of things to come.
I remember seeing blurbs about that, but isn't it mainly the local governments that control the indigenous people that have been, like CPS has been grabbing their kids, and like with native reservations here, a lot of them end up dying. I mean, I've seen those articles over the years, and you were telling me last night that now the military is policing.
Well, the numbers of Indigenous Australians has dropped from, I'm not sure of the years, but something like 300,000 to 50,000. And like Canada, like Native Americans, which Sean can talk about, that's a big deal.
And it's really happening. I mean, it's you know, the same thing that we saw in Australia is now unfolding here. What do you guys think is going to happen as they try to go after guns? They've got the bills introduced to ban most guns, just like Australia. I mean, what's going to happen with this collision of people that aren't going to be slaves?
Alex, I've been saying this to these guys for years now. I mean, you come to Texas, you come to the U.S., and there's this history of resistance and skepticism to the government. Even the state of Texas has its own unique history about resistance and fighting off the federal government. In Australia, they didn't have a Revolutionary War. Australians did not fight for their independence.
It was a penal colony, so people are used to being prisoners, I guess.
Well, it was given to them. You know, their independence, in which they're not an entirely independent nation, by the way.
Yeah, back in the 70s, they removed the prime minister when he wouldn't do what the Queen said. Just like they just did in Canada, but it was the opposite. He called the Queen's governor in when the Parliament said get out.
Yeah, well, and what I'm saying is in Texas and in the greater U.S., you have this psychology which is all about the Constitution, our rights, our skepticism towards the government. What I find as an American living in Australia is the exact opposite. People basically trust, and, you know, they may be skeptical of leaders, but by and large, they'll do what the government tells them to do.
And you mentioned the Whitlam dismissal. I mean, it's in public record that the Governor-General was influenced by the British Crown, obviously, as the British Crown's representative, by the CIA to dismiss the Australian Prime Minister. And this is 8 years after another Australian Prime Minister actually went swimming on a beach in Victoria and went missing, and his body's never been found.
Amazing. Total police state. We'll also give out your website when we come back as we start the third hour.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. I've told you for a long time it's important to be self-sufficient, and today that's more important than ever. We need to be independent, and food and water is the key. You'll never have to stand in a bread line if you have your own bread. You'll never have to go to the Superdome and beg for FEMA to take care of your family in any emergency if you simply prepare. No one is going to take care of your family in the final equation but you. You know eFoodsDirect.com is still able to ship storable food that's safe from E. coli, salmonella, genetic alteration, or Chinese imports. And they do it at almost half the cost of last year's grocery prices. Call 1-800-409-5633 or on the web, go to eFoodsDirect.com. Visit eFoodsDirect.com and look over the fine list of high-quality, freeze-dried, and dehydrated foods they have to offer. Watch the free videos, look at their online catalog, or give them a call at 1-800-409-5633. Again, 800-409-5633, or on the web at eFoodsDirect.com. Take action today. The first step is getting storable food.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Our guests, who are TV producers and directors from Australia, making a film, a series, both for Australian television, is tacticalrecon.com.au. Tacticalrecon.com.au for Australia, and we'll put that up on screen. In fact, there it is right now up on screen live at prisonplanet.tv for the next 2 hours. In fact, we went live a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes ago. Coming up in about 20 minutes, I'm going to give you the phone number for the city of Arcadia, where they're having this giant door-to-door martial law drill for gun confiscation. We're also going to give you the number to the U.S. Army, specifically who's doing this, but you should call the regular Army. You should call the media. This is insane. And we have other state reps coming on later in the show that are fighting all of this as well. But we have the Aussies here in studio with us right now. I'm opening the phones up for people that have been in urban warfare drills, folks that are in Iowa, people who are concerned about this on this subject. So I want to leave the phones open, and police and military want to call in specifically. I mean, you heard me years ago lay all this out with the documents of the video, and some of you were in denial. Now you can't be in denial. I'm getting a lot of military and police emailing us and calling us and contacting us. Other hosts are telling me this, mainline host, that finally they're coming out of their trance going, wait a minute, foreign bankers run the country, they're looting everything. This is all really happening. Now they're training us to go after the American people. They're training us for roadside IEDs, and the American people are going to be fighting us soon. Why is that, gentlemen?
Well, I'll tell you something about Australia. It's not that it's happening now, it's that it's already happened. I mean, the gun culture is all but gone in Australia, as far as from what I can tell. I've been there 10 years now, and there's no real debate anymore about whether people ought to own guns. I mean, to get an assault rifle is virtually impossible. You might find the occasional person who has a special permit for a handgun or a hunting rifle, but that's pretty rare, and that's definitely not in the cities. So there's no real debate. The debate's over in Australia.
And the reason we're making the show that we're making is to deal with apathy. And we're really worried when we speak to young people in particular, and they're just not that interested in politics. They're not that interested in the future. It's all about the here and now. And we really want to respond to apathy. Question your government, question what's going on. Question every time the Australian government sends soldiers into every US war, as they always have. People just don't seem to really care anymore, and that's why we're here making the show that we're making at the moment.
You might even say that Australia is kind of a picture of where the U.S. is going to be in a few years.
Now, Sean, are both of you college teachers?
We teach occasionally both times. We're both working film and television industry, and so sometimes we teach at a university.
You've shown Terror Storm, right?
I've shown Terror Storm in a public setting, about 500 people. I'll tell you something. You've never seen a group divided so quickly as when you show something like Terror Storm. And quite frankly, I think it's all about worldview. Some people just decide in advance these things can't be true, so you must be wrong. And the other half have already been suspicious for some time, and now it's reinforcing their view.
But, I mean, in the film we have, like, mainstream Times of London, where it's admitted that British Special Forces SAS were caught dressed up like Arabs running around shooting and killing people, to blame it on the people in Basra. I mean, it's admitted. I don't understand it's not a conspiracy theory.
Well, let me tell you what I run into, because we're talking about students now. You're talking about your average 18 to 25-year-old, and it's classic doublethink. I see the facts being presented to me. I see what you're saying. Yes, the cop did say that. The lady did say that. We see the information being laid out in front of me. But, isn't that just your interpretation? I mean, this is a really common postmodern way of seeing things now. Isn't that just your interpretation of the facts? And, can't I have another interpretation of the facts? I have these endless debates like that with students.
It's delusional.
Yeah, because in reality what happens is there's no objective truth anymore. It's simply a whole lot of opinions.
We Are Change and other 9/11 groups are really expanding in Australia, though, so people are starting to wake up, at least some of them.
They took a little while to crop up, but there was the first 9/11 Truth Conference that we both went to in March last year. It was pretty poorly attended, to be quite honest, although we had some incredible guests like Dr. Bob Bowman and G. Edward Griffin. And I know they are having another conference. It's run by Truth Action Australia. It's run by a terrific bloke called John Burstall. And this year I think they have Stephen Jones and possibly even Luke Radowski coming.
I love it, bloke.
You got a bit of Aussie in there.
All right, we're going to come right back after this quick break with our guest in studio from the land down under. And we're going to take your phone calls.
The new multipolar inline and portable water system new from hempusa.org. Now you can restructure and degas your water supply from any source, rendering chemicals harmless to the human body by polarizing the molecular structure. Imagine a softer, smoother water with increased oxygen that helps the nervous system and brain. There are no filters to buy, and it can be taken anywhere, making it our #1 new product from hempusa.org. This water system will descale all piping, hot water heaters, and appliances due to heavy buildup of hard minerals. Detoxification may result with restructured water by easily entering the fine capillaries of the human body by dissolving stones and toxins. With extreme positive effects on plants, vegetables, and fruits, improved taste, color, size, and yield.